Good evening, everyone. I am so happy to be here today. It's a long time coming. I feel like we haven't programmed for months. And that's true, we haven't. Uh, that's what it's all about. Welcome to the workshop. Open for business officially again. Today, we're going to dive into Android. We're going to make some sort of app that can read its own screen and report back to the back-end server. Then we'll work on the back-end server. The objective is to create an Android app that can use the phone. So it wouldn't be very much use if you open the app and ask it to use the phone and then it uses its own app. You need it to be able to display on top of other apps and use those apps. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's put on some music, chill out, take our time. Let's have a little discussion with ChatGPT about how to get started. Maybe watch a YouTube tutorial or two. We'll see where it goes. We're starting from scratch. I used to make Android apps. I don't remember how to do it, so I need a little bit of a brush up. So let's put on a little bit of music, a little bit of let's just start with the music. How about the Fat Rat? Love the Fat Rat. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. All right, let me get the ChatGPT set up, and we'll have a little combo with ChatGPT, and we'll get an Android app running on the virtual machine. How's that sound? Sounds like a plan to me. All right. ChatGPT has answers for us. We've created a new... Oh, that's the old one. There it is. Nice. Get that one out of here. That's old news. Alright, hope y'all can see this. Maybe I should increase my Oh, hello. Failed. This is literally the default. Why is it failing? Am I missing some dependencies? Build failed. An exception occurred applying plugin version check. Minimum supported Cradle version is 8. Current version is 7.5.1. Well, I need to upgrade Gradle then. I'm gonna Google that. Nice. Decreasing the Android version worked pretty well there. I mean Gradle, yeah. Because apparently Gradle 8 is not present. I'm not sure how to upgrade it, so I just decreased the dependency to 7.5.1, and that appears to have worked. Okay, now let's get this thing running in a virtual device.
To show you installation of Android Studio on Windows machine. Also, I will be showing you how to run first Android application. So let's start the video. So guys, you can open any of your favorite browser and just search for Android Studio download. To this and download needs your nation will be run. So yes, it is button. Okay guys, all the information button, and now here from the here it's showing me what verify setting this information as well as license on of installing the video. I'm going to see. So we have various options, templates available, whether you are creating for phone, tablet or TV. So we are creating for phone and tablet, and then from here we have to select what empty activity. Okay, and click on next button. Now guys, here we have to provide various information such as name of the application, package name. So name of the application I've given first app. In package I'm just providing CS Corner instead of example. And guys, this is a location where my Android application will be created. So if you wish to change, you can click on this folder icon and change. I'm taking the default one. And now guys, here we have minimum SDK. So by default it is showing me API 24 and Android 7. So minimum SDK means what? Minimum SDK it should be there, if 7 should be there. So guys, here minimum SDK it is showing, that means minimum you should have this much. If you have greater than this also, that is okay. So from this drop down you can select different API, and you can select the approximately supported percentage. One more the person, like what devices are supporting this API. So I'm just clicking on learn more, and I'm showing over here. Here it's showing me different Android platform versions, API, and the percentage distribution. So guys, if you see the latest Android, so the percentage is what? Less, because less devices are supported or created on this Android platform. So here whatever is there, Android platform 7, you can finish button. Okay guys, so now after this, what it will do, it will install your SDK. Okay, so third component installation started. One was Android Studio, then virtual device, now SDK. And guys, you can see my SDK installation done. I'm going to click on this finish button. Okay guys, so now here you can see my Android Studio has been started. It is asking me some permission. I'm going to click on this allow access, and guys, now here you have to wait. Okay, so let it complete entire process, then we will start building our project and writing our code, because otherwise what will happen, you will not get your proper out, some of the error will come. So let it complete. Okay guys, so my process is completed. Now here at left side you can see it's showing me my projects, and here it's showing me my what, main activity.kt file. So let me first explain you about the folder option, the different folders which are created when you create any Android application. So guys, here you can see we have what, my app, nothing but my project name, and after that guys you can see we have what, this folder. So after that guys, you can see we have manifest file, and in manifest file we have what, XML file. So you can just expand and see the XML, nothing but your application information will be there in this XML file. And now guys, under this Java file we will be having what, KT file. So whatever is your logic or source code, that is going to be in KT file. You can create this in Java also. For that you have to select different option while creating your project. Okay, so I have created separate video for that, you can watch that. And so guys, now here under resources folder, let me just expand this resources. So whenever you want to have some images or some strings to be created, so you can create that in resources folder. Okay, so here we have drawable resource, color resource, string, and so many resources are there. You can explore all this. Okay guys, so my Android virtual devices has already been installed. So we will go to this device manager, and here you can see it's showing me Pixel 3a API 34 extension level. So this is my AVD. On this AVD my application will be run if you are not connecting physical devices. So I'm just starting this AVD by clicking on this launch AVD in the emulator. So this will not run my application, it will just start my AVD. Okay, so guys, here you can see my AVD has been started. So here it's showing me my devices which is running. Now we will run application on this virtual device. Okay, I have created separate video for how to run your application using what, physical devices, your actual mobile phone, also how you can connect to your mobile phone and your Android Studio through wireless. So you can see that video also. So guys, now here we have different options: code, split, and design. So code shows your coding part, and split shows code as well as design. Design shows only design part. So now here I'm just clicking on this design button. So you can see here it's showing me build and refresh. So to get the preview we have to do this option. So I'm clicking on this link. So again guys, here you can see waiting for a build to finish. So it will take a moment and it will show your preview of whatever code is there. So now guys, you can see it's showing me greeting preview. So hello Android. So in my code we have Android written there, so it's showing me that. So now let me go to the code and let me modify code. So instead of hello Android, I want hello CS corner. So I'm just changing my code at two places. So here in greeting preview I'm just putting CS corner, also in on create I'm putting CS corner. Okay, hello CS corner. So I'm just changing my code at two places. So here in greeting preview I'm just putting CS corner, also in on create I'm putting CS corner. Okay, now again I'm going to this design, and now you can see it's showing me loading. So it will be refreshed and it will be shown over here in preview part. Okay, so guys, you can see it's showing me hello CS corner right now. So now what I'll do, I'll run my this code on my Android virtual devices. So here at the top you can see it's showing me my device name, that is Pixel 3a API 34. So what I need to do, I need to just click on this play button. Okay, so again guys, it will build and it will install this APK on your virtual devices, and if you connect with physical devices, the APK will be installed on your real phone. Okay, so now you can see, guys, I'm getting my expected output, hello CS corner. So this way, guys, you can create projects in Android Studio and you can run on emulator. So I hope, guys, by following my video you are able to successfully install Android Studio and you are able to run your first app also. Okay, guys, so guys, if really my video has helped you, then don't forget to hit on like button, and if you have any query you can put in comment box and let me know whether you are actually able to follow my video or you able to install Android or not. And guys, if you are new to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit bell icon to receive notifications from my channel. I create lots of videos.
That was so helpful. I understand the new version of Android Studio much better now. Let's see if she has any more videos like that. I guess not. That's okay. Now that we have a little bit of an app, let's see, Android Studio, Giraffe, basic app tutorial. I just want to know more about the UI editor.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video of Android application development in Android Studio. In this video we are designing a login page for our application. So this tutorial is dedicated to the login page. One color that will be my ready. Let's go to activity main.xml, click on split. Now we will design over here. So first thing, I will change the color. So go to resource,
And I should go through this line by line. So let's see. Package, that's pretty self-explanatory. Import, bundle, activity, compose, and theme. Main activity, a subclass of component activity, overrides function on create. All right. First, it calls its parent function, and then it sets the content to a new object called Wigli theme with a surface that's just a filled background color and a greeting. Greet Wigli. So can I hyperlink this? I can. Oh, hello. Composable function greeting is text with hello and the name, and the modifier is optional. What is text? Oh, hello. In text.kotlin, we have, okay, so it's a function that returns a basic text. Okay, what's basic text? Basic text is a function that returns a layout. I'm not familiar with Kotlin. It appears as if, okay, I would like a quick little conversation with ChatGPT about Kotlin. Kotlin has gained immense popularity as an alternative to Java for Android development due to its concise syntax, improved null safety, and a host of modern programming features. Here's an overview of the key differences between Java and Kotlin. Number 1. Null safety. Kotlin aims to eliminate the null reference errors by making... That's funny because yes, Java does have so many null reference errors. Making all types non-nullable by default. A string is non-nullable. This string is nullable. Var name string equals Alice. Var name nullable string equals null. String interpolation. Instead of Java's string concatenation, Kotlin offers string templates. Val name equals Alice. Print line hello name. Oh, that is nice. It's like F strings in Python. Type inference. Kotlin has powerful type inference. You often don't need to specify the type explicitly. Compiler knows that this is a string. Kotlin allows you to allow new functions to exist, to add new functions to existing classes without modifying them. Without modifying the class. Huh. Oh. Function string.shout equals this dot to uppercase plus exclamation point. That's so helpful. ChatGPT, such a helpful example. So you can just extend the string class by defining a new string.shout. That is so easy. Once you check a type in Kotlin, the compiler automatically casts it. If object is string, well, oh, so inside the if statement, it'll work that way? Huh. It doesn't seem that useful. Like it's the same amount of code as casting it manually. Data classes. Kotlin provides a convenient data modifier to create classes that are meant to hold data. It automatically generates hash code equals toString and other utility functions. Huh. Okay. That's very nice. Wow, this is high-level stuff. Functional programming constructs. Kotlin has first-class support for functional programming constructs like lambda expressions, higher-order functions, and collections operators like map, filter, etc. Well, that's great. Coroutines, cool, default, and name. Okay, so this is all just modern programming. Like, does Java not have that? Like, what's the latest version of Java? Java latest version 17, 18? Huh. Does it really not have, like, coroutines and stuff? Huh. Okay. Top level functions? Oh, nice. You're allowed to have things not inside of a class. That's nice. Okay. Properties. Singletons. Object singleton. Okay. Huh. Declaring a variable. In Java, in Kotlin, okay, yeah, that is so different. String name equals Alice. That is similar to C and C++. Kotlin is completely different. So variable name string equals Alice. So are you allowed to do like a loosely typed variable? I guess not. So val makes it read-only, like final in Java. Okay, nullable types. string question mark. Okay, okay. What I'm getting from this so far is that Kotlin is like Java if it was more like Python, which I'm not complaining about. I love Python. That's almost the exact same.
Value.
Still and silent, calm before the storm. Gold and diamond, jewels behind the throne. Into the night, out of the dark, take to the sky, chasing the stars. All that we said, all that we are, waiting to fly. This is the start. Hide and seek, reason and rhyme, grand and glorious. Living the dream, yours and mine, euphoria. Hide and seek, reason and rhyme, grand and glorious. Living the dream, yours and mine, euphoria.
Native layout, say hello to this hello world and delete it. So I have these images, I will use this as background and these are icons. Let me copy all of these images and paste it on a drawable folder. You can paste it over here, select this drawable v24, click on OK. So all the images are added over here. So let me add the background for this relative layout. That will be our BG image name. This is our background. Now I will add the transparent layer over here. So to add that I will use relative layout, match parent, I want full screen. Background will be my primary.
Okay, but how do I see activity main.xml? That's the part I'm a little unclear on.
My primary. Also we will remove the action bar called project. Okay, project is ready. Let's go to and Oreo. Give the application name, my login. It is ready. Java and Oreo. Click on finish. So our project is ready. Let's go to activity main.xml. Click on split. Now we will design over here.
Jetpack Compose. What? Android 2022.2 switched from the classical views concept to Jetpack Compose, which does not require layout defined in XML anymore. Everything is done in the Kotlin code instead. See the official Jetpack Compose introduction for more info. Well, there's my problem. I had no idea. That's something. I mean, okay. I mean, this is why we're doing this. This is what this stream is all about. It's about getting caught up to Android development in 2022. I haven't done it for a few years, so let's dive in.
Infinite power, infinite power, infinite power, infinite power.
Infinite power.
Infinite power.
Infinite power.
Infinite power.
that is looking pretty good. I like that quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, it's tiny, but I guess that's the point. This is cool. We're having a great time. Android has changed quite a bit in the last couple of years. It's a good tutorial. It can be pretty difficult to do the UI Automator stuff, though. That next, yeah, retrieve UI info. That's going to be UI Automator. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Summer in the hills, those hazy days I do remember. We were running still, had the whole world at our feet, watching seasons change. Our roads were lined with adventure, mountains in the way couldn't keep us from the sea. Here we stand, open arms. This is home where we are, ever strong in the world that we made. I still hear you in the breeze, see your shadow Getting stronger every day. Keep on pushing through the pain. Keep on grinding till we die. Ain't no mercy in this life. There's nowhere left to run away. No, there's nowhere left to run away, run away, run away, run away, run away. Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Somewhere by the Emerald Sea, where the moon and water meet. Somewhere close to harmony, when the world is sound asleep. Something's gonna bring the change, journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Something's gonna bring the change, journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Let's sing a song full of hope, full of pain. Why don't you sing along, my friend? For it's our last refrain. Forever young, ever strong, ever brave. Memories like this never end. No, they don't fade away. So when I'm gone, or when I'm the sun. Close to the sun.
That's interesting. The tutorial by default was putting out, whoops. The tutorial by default was putting out incorrect previews when I changed to dark mode. I needed to add this surface and then it worked. I'm not sure why. At this time, I'm not sure what a surface is. But that looks pretty good. That looks like a messaging app right there. Nice.
And I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun. Greetings chosen, I've been waiting here for you since the beginning of this universe. You know the world is fading, there's a secret power hidden in your soul. Don't be afraid to use it, 'cause you're the one, you're the one, you're the one, you're the one. 'Cause you're the one, you're the one, you're the one, you're the chosen one, you're the one, you're the one, you're the one, you're the chosen one. Greetings chosen, I've been waiting here for you since the beginning of this universe. You know the world is fading, there's a secret power hidden in your soul. Don't be afraid to use it. There are voices in your head saying that you're a failure. You're not good enough, but you know that's not true. There is a secret power hidden in your soul. Don't be afraid to use it, 'cause you're the one.
Infinite power.
All right, this is getting pretty complicated, so I want to go through it line by line. Pop quiz. What is going on? Okay. Maximize this so you can see what's going on here. Come on, get bigger. View. Text size. Huh. Here then. You'll just have to deal with a small font size then. So, importing a bunch of stuff. UI modifier. Yep. Alright, importing a bunch of stuff. Main activity extends component activity. And in this activity, we're overriding the onCreate function so that as soon as the activity is created, we do all of this stuff first. Call the initial onCreate function, then set the content of the activity to conversation, specifically wrapped with a surface so that it fills the maximum size and has the correct background color. Also wrapped in the Wigli theme so that it has all the correct themed stuff from the user's phone. And what is conversation? Let's go down there. Conversation is a lazy column, a nice scrollable activity containing items in the form of messages. What is a message? Well, it's a lambda function. Each message calls message card on that message. What is a message card? Here we are. That's the meat of the application so far. A message card takes as a parameter a message, a little abbreviated message there. And it's a row. And the row has an image, which is the profile picture from earlier. That one. Nice. There's the description, and this image has a size of 40 dp. It's in a circle, and it has a border in the color of the primary color of the theme. Nice. To the right of the image, there's a spacer, 8 dp. And next is the column of text. Now, we're defining this variable, is expanded, which is a remember. I'm not familiar with this keyword, but contextually it appears to be sort of working off of remember, which is an inline function. Fascinating. Remembers the value returned by the calculation. Otherwise, produces and remembers a new value by calling calculation.
Our roads were lined with adventure, mountains in the way, couldn't keep us from the sea. Here we stand open arms, this is home.
All right. And that function is mutable state of. So that'll remember whatever it is. Okay, so it starts out as false. So it starts out as not expanded. So contracted, so hidden. That makes sense. We toggle that variable whenever the column is clicked. So the column is a composable object with a modifier clickable. And clickable is a function which has its own well, it appears to have a bit of code in here. Is expanded equals not is expanded. That makes sense. Okay, so that keeps track of the variable is expanded. Inside the column, we have the author in the secondary color of the theme, the typography, title small. Then there's a spacer, and then the body. There's a wrapped in a surface, which causes it to be shaped in the medium shape of the material theme. with a shadow. Yep, tiny, tiny little shadow. What happens if I change that to 0? Can I see what that shadow is? I can. Okay. What if I change that to 4? I kind of like that. I'm going to keep that as 4. Click. Expands. Nice. There's no animation yet. I think we're about to get into that. The text body. There's the text. It has padding. And this part is max lines. Yeah, so max lines is, and then there's an inline if function. If is expanded, max value, else 1. Wait, int max value. That's like 2 billion or 4 billion. Okay, sure. Cool. Style is body medium. Set the signal. Tile small. Body medium. Okay. Oh, and then the previews. So we have preview message card in both light mode and dark mode. Dark mode specifically has configuration.ui mode night yes. And in preview message card, we have an invocation of message card wrapped in a surface, wrapped in a Wigli theme. And the message says, Lexi, hey, take a look at Jetpack Compose. It's great. And we have a preview of conversation in both light mode and dark mode, which invokes conversation wrapped in surface and Wigli theme with the conversation sample, which is defined down here. It's just a bunch of messages. All right. We did it. Line by line explanation. Pop quiz passed. A+. Good job, team. Let's get back to the tutorial. Can I just say, this is such a productive stream. Compared to the last few months, I've been busy, and this feels great. So thank you for watching. Like the video, like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and we're gonna be doing a lot more of this, I think. This is invigorating. Programming never felt so good. This isn't super clear to me what it means when it says you will use the clickable modifier to handle click events on the composable. We already did that. Instead of just toggling the background color of the surface, you'll animate the background color by gradually modifying its value from material theme.colorscheme.surface to material theme.colorscheme.primary and vice versa. To do so, you will use the animate color as state function. Lastly, you will use the animate content size modifier to animate the message container size smoothly. Okay, that makes sense. Nice! We've finished the compose tutorial. We've built a simple chat screen efficiently showing a list of expandable and animated messages containing an image and texts. Designed using material design principles with a dark theme included and previews in under 100 lines of code. We learned how to define composable functions, add different elements to the composable, structure the UI components using layout composables, extend composables by using modifiers, create an efficient list, keep track of state and modifying it, adding user interaction on a composable, and animating messages while expanding them. I would have liked to have seen the actual expansion be animated, though. That would have been nice. I could imagine how to change the number of allowable lines, but what about the actual vertical size? I guess you could save the existing vertical size and then animate your way towards the target size, ideally with a spherical linear interpolation. That's something to think about. Next steps, continue learning. It sounds like fun. Wow. Fantastic. Well, I think that we can safely check off hello, Android. Check. Nice. Next is... Oh, that's incorrect number there. Okay. Next is retrieving the UI info. That's going to be using UI Automator. Sounds like we're gonna need super user permission. That's possible. That's definitely doable. All right, you know what? This is a pretty good pausing point, so I'm gonna take a little break and then come back and then maybe work on UI Automator, maybe play a little Elden Ring, maybe end stream. I don't know. I know that we're at a fantastic stopping point because we are done with our first item, which was Hello World in Android. We've got our app. It's pretty cool. I like the new Jet Compose. Is that what it was called? Remind myself. Yeah, Compose. Yeah, so be back in 15 minutes. Sounds about right. Let's listen to some synthwave. It sounds good. All right. Be back soon. All right. Yeah. Upon thinking about it, I think that's going to conclude the programming section of this stream. I just noticed how late it is. It is 4 a.m. on the West Coast. And we did some good programming today. That was a great introduction to modern Android programming. Lots of stuff has changed. So yeah, we did the Compose tutorial. What was it called? Jetpack. Yeah, Jetpack Compose. So we did the whole Jetpack Compose tutorial. Makes a lot of sense. Learned a ton of stuff. Next programming stream, once we have the energy for it, we're going to go straight into UI Automator. We're going to make a separate APK capable of automating the usage of a third app, like a separate app. And then we're going to try to fold that in to the main app. It's going to require super user permissions. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But right now, I think we're going to play a little bit of Elden Ring, a little bit of cooking podcasts, get back to basics. That's all we've been doing most of the streams these days. Honestly, I just haven't had the energy for programming. I've been working real hard to make money. And so yeah, we're just going to play some Elden Ring. I think we're going to explore Necron. I still need to grab a little bit of food. So I know I said I'd be right back. I'm going to be right back again. Give me 2 minutes and then we'll jump into Elden Ring. Maybe we'll watch a video first. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yep. All right. Yep, be right back. late to resume the stream. Let me just connect my keyboard. I have to disconnect it every time I get up because it's mounted to my chair. I think it's pretty cool and very ergonomic. All right. Booting up the second computer for gaming purposes. Oh, cat wants in. 1 second. We're gonna let that cat in. All right, I am back from letting the cats in. And just remember that if I don't... Oh, well, that was really quiet. The music, I didn't mean for it to be that quiet. Hey, that is my snack. Get away from here. Get out of here. You're so cute. You're too cute. But you can't have my snack. Dog are the cats. Okay, when I switch my audio output device, my lips are going to stop working, so I'm going to have to restart that app. That should be fine, I think. Sorry, there's still some more setup I need to do. Maybe we should go ahead and watch some of that podcast while I set up. Nice. Wow, these cats really want my dinner. All right.
From the
Let's
Greenhouse
just
again, it's
watch
the
some of this
Out of
podcast. How's that sound?
episode 74, and this is the story of a beloved American fast food chain that now only exists as an echo of its former self in East Asia and proximate developing markets. Oh, did you think that I was talking about Kenny Rogers Roasters? Well, I am, but first I'm going to talk about Mr. Donut. Kenny Rogers and Mr. Donut are two U.S. fast food chains that have lived oddly parallel lives, and their stories say something important about U.S. versus global economies and tastes. Kenny Rogers and Mr. Donut also happen to have converged at a particular node in our spatial dimension, and that node could be found in the town where I grew up. Hence my particular interest. Oh, you've never heard of Mr. Donut? Well, how about Dunkin' Donuts? You've heard of them, right? Right? Yeah, right. started by a guy named William Rosenberg from Dorchester, Mass., cradle of the Wahlbergs. The post-World War II building boom in the U.S. created armies of hungry construction workers who needed quick, concentrated calorie bombs to get through their days. And Bill Rosenberg was there with his little company, Industrial Luncheon Services. He'd made some money selling war bonds. He used it to convert old taxicabs and telephone trucks into primitive food trucks, and he'd roll up on the job site or in the parking lot of the factory or whatever right when the lunch whistle blew, and not surprisingly, this was a very successful little business. But after a while, he noticed that 40% of his total sales were for coffee and donuts. Nothing else, just coffee and donuts. A fellow working outside around Boston is liable to get cold most months of the year, and he needs to warm up with a cup of hot Joe. The coffee also contains caffeine, a psychoactive drug that gives the user the illusion of being more awake and alert than they actually are. And I'm sure the managers down at the job site felt real good about that. Plus, manual labor is extremely calorie intensive, and few foods are more energy dense than a deep-fried ball of sugar dough with frosting on top. So yeah, coffee and donuts. Anyway, Bill Rosenberg opened his first donut shop in 1948 in Quincy, Mass., which is pronounced like a Z, Quincy, not Quincy. I don't know if that knowledge will be useful to you at some point in your life, but figured I'd just get it out there. It's hard doing radio in Boston at first. Bill Rosenberg's new donut place in Quincy was called Open Kettle. Open kettle. Is there such a thing as a closed kettle? A kettle is a specialized device for boiling water, generally for hot beverage. It's a simple thing, short and stout. Here is its handle, here is its spout, through which the hot liquid flows. The spout generally does not have any kind of cap or lid on it. If the spout did have a cap, I would understand calling your restaurant Open Kettle, because it implies that the kettle through which your delicious, restoring coffee or tea shall flow is now open. All you need do, weary workman, is position your little cup under that spout to receive its bounty. But the spout generally doesn't have any kind of cap or lid, so that doesn't make any sense. There generally is a lid at the top of the kettle through which you pour your water to be heated. I assume the function of that lid is to retain heat in the form of steam, thus bringing the liquid to a boil faster when the lid is closed. But I doubt Open Kettle is referring to that lid, because how would that lid being open be a selling point? Come to Open Kettle in Quincy, where our water takes slightly longer to boil because we left the kettle open. Looking at the Oxford English Dictionary, it seems kettle used to refer more broadly to all kinds of vessels used for heating a liquid, so it's possible that kettle in 1948 referred to the pot in which the oil was boiled for frying the donuts, and such a kettle might indeed have had a lid, but I still don't understand how the lack of a lid there would have been a selling point. Open Kettle seems like kind of a bad name. Maybe that's why Bill Rosenberg changed the name in 1950 to Dunkin' Donuts, spelled D-O-N-U-T. If you're calling your treat a donut, what you're saying is that it's like a nut, but made out of dough. It's an oily little lump, like a nut, but it's made of dough, so it's a dough nut. And in that context, you would probably spell it D-O-U-G-H-N-U-T. But according to Dunkin' Donuts' internal company lore, Rosenberg struck the phonetically unnecessary silent letters from the name so that he could make the letters that he kept bigger on the gigantic sign that he designed. Hey, good thinking. I will say, whilst I'm logged into my Oxford English Dictionary subscription, that there is a recorded instance of the word donut spelled without the silent UGH all the way back in 1782, but good ideas do tend to get reinvented over time and space, so let's give Bill Rosenberg the benefit of the doubt that he, for himself, invented the streamlined spelling of donut that has since penetrated popular usage. Anyway, things went unsurprisingly well for the first Dunkin' Donuts location in Quincy, Mass. So well that in 1955, Rosenberg inked his first franchise deal, a business arrangement to allow
I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to go back a little bit in
entity
this
to make
podcast
and sell
because
Dunkin' branded
I
donuts. What
didn't
a
have
coup.
my headphones
There
working
was
for the
only
last
one problem.
5 minutes. So
Bill
let's just go
Rosenberg
back a
had
little
a
bit.
business. There was only the liquid to a boil faster. Heat pronounced like a Z48. Bill Rosenberg opened his first donut shop in 1948 in
That should do
Quincy,
it.
Mass, which is pronounced like a Z, Quincy, not Quincy. I don't know if that knowledge will be useful to you at some point in your life, but figured I'd just get it out there. It's hard doing radio in Boston at first. Bill Rosenberg's new donut place in Quincy was called Open Kettle. Open Kettle. Is there such a thing as a closed kettle? A kettle is a specialized device for boiling water, generally for hot beverage. It's a simple thing, short and stout. Here is its handle, here is its spout, through which the hot liquid flows. The spout generally does not have any kind of cap or lid on it. If the spout did have a cap, I would understand calling your restaurant Open Kettle, because it implies that the kettle through which your delicious, restoring coffee or tea shall flow is now open. All you need do, weary workman, is position your little cup under that spout to receive its bounty. But the spout generally doesn't have any kind of cap or lid, so that doesn't make any sense. There generally is a lid at the top of the kettle through which you pour your water to be heated. I assume the function of that lid is to retain heat in the form of steam, thus bringing the liquid to a boil faster when the lid is closed. But
All right. We're finally ready to play some Elden Ring. Let me turn up the volume a little bit. All right. Psych. Not ready to play Elden Ring because I still need to
I
eat
doubt
my
Open
snack. Let's keep watching.
Kettle is referring to that lid, because how would that lid being open be a selling point? Come to Open Kettle in Quincy, where our water takes slightly longer to boil because we left the kettle open. Looking at the Oxford English Dictionary, it seems kettle used to refer more broadly to all kinds of vessels used for heating a liquid, so it's possible that kettle in 1948 referred to the pot in which the oil was boiled for frying the donuts, and such a kettle might indeed have had a lid, but I still don't understand how the lack of a lid there would have been a selling point. Open Kettle seems like kind of a bad name. Maybe that's why Bill Rosenberg changed the name in 1950 to Dunkin' Donuts, spelled D-O-N-U-T. If you're calling your treat a donut, what you're saying is that it's like a nut, but made out of dough. It's an oily little lump, like a nut, but it's made of dough, so it's a dough nut. And in that context, you would probably spell it Doughnut. But according to Dunkin' Donuts' internal company lore, Rosenberg struck the phonetically unnecessary silent letters from the name so that he could make the letters that he kept bigger on the gigantic sign that he designed. Hey, good thinking. I will say, whilst I'm logged into my Oxford English Dictionary subscription, that there is a recorded instance of the word donut spelled without the silent UGH all the way back in 1782, but good ideas do tend to get reinvented over time and space, so let's give Bill Rosenberg the benefit of the doubt that he, for himself, invented the streamlined spelling of donut that has since penetrated popular usage. Anyway, things went unsurprisingly well for the first Dunkin' Donuts location.
All right. Dinner has been consumed, and Elven Ring shall be commenced. Last we left off, we had just defeated the mausoleum over there. Fast travel there. Thereby unlocking the apostate derelict. There's the mausoleum. This mausoleum was quite a bit different than any previous mausoleums in that it had artillery. Like it actually fired explosive fireworks at us. I have yet to actually use any of my remembrances. I should learn how to do that. Anyway, as tempting as it is to progress in the consecrated snowfield, I would rather explore Nukron, the Eternal City. There it is. So let's see. We left off in, is it the Knight's Sacred Ground? I think so. Yep. That's something. This place is so gorgeous. I think we defeated this area, actually. We had found a teleportation portal, which sent us back to the ancestral woods. I'm not sure. Is this above ground or below ground? This is... Yeah. This is where we were. Fantastic. Okay. Let's push forward. Let's see what we do. Oh, wow. Completely missed that. I'm over-leveled for this area, so this should be pretty easy. I can break their poise. It's just, they don't do very much damage. Ridiculously easy. I want to defeat Moog. He's probably the boss of this area. He's probably located at that place over there. That, bright... Yeah, that place. Way over there. No idea how we're going to get there. Probably some sort of teleportation. We'll find out. For now, we're just exploring. Oh my god, are you serious? Oh, I survived. Oh well, and I found an item. That was actually kind of lucky. I can't believe I fell off. That was unintentional. Okay, that's okay. Yep. Serves me right. I deserve that. Oh, you can't hear what's going on. Sorry. Glad I cut that. Capture card was muted. Yeah, anyway, that was funny. I fell off, and then I was granted a second chance, and I squandered it by falling off again. Anyway, let's listen to that podcast and explore the Eternal City. How's that sound? Sounds good to me.
In Quincy, Mass. So well that in 1955, Rosenberg inked his first franchise deal, a business arrangement to allow a different corporate entity to make and sell Dunkin'-branded donuts. What a coup. There was only one problem. Bill Rosenberg had a business partner named Harry Winokur. Harry was Bill's brother-in-law. Bill Rosenberg's adult children, who now run his company, still refer to their dad's old business partner as Uncle Harry. I'm quoting now from an oral history of the Dunkin' Donuts company published by Boston Magazine in 2010. Bob Rosenberg, Bill's son who took over the business, Bob Rosenberg said, quote, "Uncle Harry Winokur was my father's partner. He and my dad did not get along." Why not? Well, here's the quote from David Slater, Harry Winokur's son-in-law. Quote, "Winokur would say, 'We've got 6 stores, we got 7, that's enough.' Bill would say, 'I want 70. After a while, that became a problem with them." End quote. Sounds like Uncle Harry was admirably conservative in his business instincts, but not Bill. Bill Rosenberg wanted it all. Bob Rosenberg. They finally broke up in 1955, and we bought Uncle Harry out for $350,000. He used that to start the Mr. Donut chain. David Slater, Uncle Harry's son-in-law. I became CEO of Mr. Donut. It was an absolute carbon copy of Dunkin' Donuts. The donut variety was 100% the same. But the Red Sox and Yankees don't compete any harder than our two chains did. You couldn't even dunk a donut at Mr. Donut, you dipped them. End quote. For the uninitiated, they're discussing the verb their respective companies used to describe the act of wetting your donut in your coffee before taking a bite. By the way, I say this as a relatively new coffee drinker who doesn't eat a whole lot of donuts. Wow, I just recently realized how amazing coffee and donuts taste together. Because the coffee balances the sweetness of the donut. That combination is a hit for a reason. Try it yourself in the comfort of your own home with much better coffee than you typically find at a donut place with trade. Uncle Harry went off and started his competing Mr. Donut
Skip the
restaurant
ad.
chain
Nice.
in Boston, with Mr. spelled all the way out, not abbreviated as is common. Mr. spelled all the way out, and donut spelled in the new, more sign-friendly manner, without the extra silent letters. Mr. Donut was so successful that they quickly got franchise offers themselves, and perhaps a little competitive drive is all that Uncle Harry needed to get over his instinctive conservatism, and Mr. Donut spread rapidly up and down the American East Coast. Indeed, the first donut I remember eating in my childhood in central Pennsylvania was a Mr. Donut. My favorite donut as a child, the only donut I would eat, because kids are infuriating like that, the only donut I would eat was this chocolate cake donut from Mr. Donut, probably dipped in sugar glaze and then rolled in coarsely ground peanuts. I believe this was called the golden chocolate flavor. and I don't want to know what I would give up right now to taste a Mr. Donut chocolate and crushed peanut butter donut. I'm sure it wouldn't be as good as I remember it, because nothing could be. And now, because of nut allergies, I doubt we will see a peanut-encrusted donut in a case of a major chain ever again. Cross-contamination. I have such happy memories of sitting in that parking lot on North Atherton Street in State College, PA, waiting for my mom or dad to step out with that paper bag of donuts. Because people used to just leave their small children alone inside cars while they were running errands. But the good times couldn't roll on forever. After decades of competing fiercely with Dunkin', decades in which both chains spread all over the United States and then the world, Dunkin' finally won. Or at least that's what the Dunkin' Donuts people will tell you. That is their history that their internal corporate lore records. Indeed, Dunkin' was much more successful than Mr. Donut. Mr. Donut peaked at a few hundred stores in the US, while Dunkin' had thousands. But perhaps a more accurate way of looking at it is that both Dunkin' and Mr. Donut lost, because they both got bought out. Which I suppose is actually a win for the ownership class. I don't know what it is for the rest of us who have fewer donut options as a result, but in 1989, the Rosenbergs sold out to a giant British food and beverage conglomerate that was then called Allied Lions. And it was with that Allied Lions money behind them that they immediately turned around and bought out Mr. Donut. Actually, from what I can gather, Allied Lions bought Mr. Donut directly, and then eventually Mr. Donut came under Dunkin' Brands, which itself was under Allied Lions. But the point is, all of a sudden, the Brits owned all the donuts, which I remember being like a minor scandal in the US, given what a quintessentially American product the donut is, setting aside the fact that donuts are German/Dutch. I suppose the United States is heavily German. Germans remain the largest single ethnic group in the United States, to the extent to which you could even call German Americans a distinct ethnic group anymore. Germans just kind of became white people, and white people kind of became Germans, especially in the Midwest and in Pennsylvania, where the Mr. Donut location on North Atherton Street closed. I would guess somewhere around 1990, because I remember being devastated when Mr. Donut closed, and that reaction seems consistent with me being around 8 years old at the time. Still haven't had a donut as good as the golden chocolate or whatever the peanut-crusted chocolate donut was called. If it still existed, it'd still probably be the only donut I would eat. I remain firmly on Team Chocolate Cake Donut. The Brits bought Dunkin' Donuts and Mr. Donut, but Dunkin' was the more popular brand, so Mr. Donut franchises gradually converted into Dunkies, or they went out of business. Allied Lions was itself acquired by the French alcohol giant Pernod Ricard. Allied itself was an alcohol brand, Allied Breweries of Burton-on-Trent. So then the French owned all the donuts, but in 2005 they sold Dunkin' Brands to a group of US-based private equity firms, including Boston-based Bain Capital, and thus Dunkies returned to Boston from whence it came. Former Bain Capital CEO Mitt Romney was, at the time, governor of Massachusetts, which made it all the more amusing when, a few years later, Romney was the Republican nominee for president, struggling to relate to the working class base of his party, and he made a campaign stop at a restaurant where he pointed to some donuts, and he said, "Hey, can you see that one of those chocolate goodies finds its way to our ride?" Mitt Romney, former governor of Massachusetts, former CEO of Bain Capital, which owned Dunkin' Donuts and what remains of Mr. Donut. That guy, in the heat of the campaign, failed to successfully identify a donut. Can't believe he lost. And then a few years later, when the Republican Party moved in a decidedly non-Romney direction, a lot of us felt pretty nostalgic for that guy. Some of us might even consider voting for that guy right about now, but anyway, there is, as far as I can tell, one Mr. Donut location remaining in the entire United States, in Godfrey, Illinois, just over the river from St. Louis. I must go there. If anyone has any personal connections to the Mr. Donut in Godfrey, out toward Lewis and Clark Community College, please do get in touch. But I might just fly there one day. Don't say I didn't warn you. Godfrey, Illinois is where the story of Mr. Donut ends. In the United States. Something totally different happened in Japan. Dunkin' and Mr. Donut both descended upon the Japanese market in the early 1970s. Japan had been decimated by its own aggressive global war of conquest just a quarter century earlier. American occupiers proceeded to remake Japan in their own image, to be a bulwark against communism in Asia, and the resulting Japanese economic miracle made Japan the second largest economy in the world at the time. An isolated island chain filled to the brim with newly wealthy consumers, positively predisposed to American culture and American brands. It was time for some donut diplomacy in the 1970s. Dunkin' and Mr. Donut both went in, but for whatever reason, Mr. Donut was way more successful there. Mr. Donut lost the US donut wars, but decisively won the Japanese donut wars, to the point where Dunkin' gave up and pulled out of the country entirely in the late 1990s. So, when Dunkin' Brands ultimately acquired Mr. Donut, they saw no reason to mess with success in Japan. Mr. Donut locations in Japan remained branded as Mr. Donut, as they remain to this day. I got the style, but not the grace. I got the clothes, but not the face. I got the bread, but not the butter. I got the window, but not the shutter. But I'm big in Japan. I'm big in Japan. Hey boy, I'm big in Japan. So wrote the great American singer-songwriter Tom Waits in the 90s, when it seemed as though Japan might actually dethrone the US as the dominant global economic power. Then the Japanese stopped having babies, and now nobody worries about Japan anymore. Japan may be a nation on the decline, but East Asia as a whole is a region on the rise, and where Japanese soldiers failed to colonize, Mr. Donut succeeded from their base in Japan. Mr. Donut is today huge in Thailand, the Philippines, Taiwan, Indonesia, probably some places I'm leaving out. But of course, the most important question is, if I get on a plane to Manila right now, could I, in 48 hours, be eating the chocolate Mr. Donut with the crushed peanut crust? I found a 2014 blog post from somebody in the Philippines who wrote about going across the street to the 7-Eleven to get donuts. Mr. Donuts are sold in 7-Elevens. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr.'s Donut are sold in 7-Eleven in the Philippines. These Philippine. Quote, "The Choco Peanut just tasted bready and greasy. I wouldn't have that again." That's about the extent of the review. I found other dispatches from Asia talking about the golden chocolate flavor, but the pictures all seem to show something that's closer to like a streusel crust rather than a peanut crust. Is that what the golden chocolate flavor was all along? Am I making up that it had peanuts? Or am I making up that the peanut one was called golden chocolate? This is why eyewitness testimony is unreliable. My kingdom for a chocolate peanut donut from Mr. Donut. Mr. Donut on North Atherton in State College, Pennsylvania closed circa 1990. I was devastated, but then something funny happened. A different establishment moved into the former Mr. Donut location on Atherton. A new chicken joint started by the guy who sang The Gambler. If I'm honest, I gotta tell you that my favorite roast chicken is not any of the many chickens I have roasted on the internet. Those are all good roast chickens. I'm sorry, I believe the plural is roasts chicken. All of my roasts chicken are good, but they're not my favorite roast chicken. You can't have my favorite roast chicken, and neither can I, because my favorite roast chicken doesn't exist anymore. At least, not in my hemisphere. And the titular roaster of said chicken sang Islands in the Stream with Dolly Parton. I can't unlove you, Kenny Rogers Roasters. Kenny Rogers was born in Houston, Texas in 1938, and he is the third...
Hey, it's a crucible night. Those are rare. And difficult. Luckily, I am vastly over-leveled. Shofra Aqueduct. Huh. Alright. Well, I think we're making progress. What's with all the ghost flame? What's with all the terrifying stone corpses? They kind of look like messengers from Bloodborne. Huh.
Third biggest selling country music artist of all time, after Garth Brooks and George Strait. Fourth biggest selling if you still count Taylor Swift as country, but obviously nobody does. Point is, Kenny was extremely successful. He started off playing bass and singing in 50s folk acts, and his first big hit, I Did Not Know This, was a psychedelic of said chicken sang Islands in the Stream with Dolly Parton. I can't unlove you, Kenny Rogers Roasters. Kenny Rogers was born in Houston, Texas in 1938, and he is the third biggest selling country music artist of all time, after Garth Brooks and George Strait. Fourth biggest selling if you still count Taylor Swift as country, but obviously nobody does. The point is,
that was not a difficult crucible night. Very cool, though. I have newfound respect for them since learning more about their lore. The crucible was the Erd tree before the Erd tree was the Erd tree. Seems from the information available that the Erd tree kind of grew around it, sort of using it like a parasite.
Kenny was extremely successful. He started off playing bass and singing in 50s folk acts, and his first big hit, I Did Not Know This, was a psychedelic rock song about LSD called Jess Dropped In to see what condition my condition was in. Listen to that with the lights off. But he steered his career in a more country direction, and in 1978, he cut a song by Don Schlitz that had been bouncing around Nashville for a couple of years and was recorded unsuccessfully by a few artists, including Johnny Cash. The song was called The Gambler, and it taught us that you gotta know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. Ain't that the truth? I presume. I don't play cards or gamble, so I don't know what any of that means, but it sounds like good advice. Kenny really pioneered the whole silver fox look. He had this immaculately trimmed full beard, and he started to go prematurely gray in his 20s. As a result, he looked like an old man most of his life. His beard obscured his aging face, and his build did not change very much over the course of his life. So the result was that it felt like Kenny Rogers was eternal. He was always there, generation after generation. Trends come and go, but always there is Kenny with his silver hair and shiny suits. And that...
2 Crucible Knights close together. Ooh, the Crucible Horn Shield. That's kind of awesome. Let me check that out, actually. Crucible Horn Shield. Oh, it's a great shield. It's better in every way than the one I'm using now. Better guard boost. Well. Oh. But it would put me into the heavy load territory, because it's 11.5 pounds. The one I have now is 12.5. Oh, well, let me replace it then. What's its description? Great shield of red-tinged gold, carried by Crucible Knights, features a great horn. An ancient holiness dwells within. The Crucible Horn skewers foes when performing shield bashes. Skill, shield bash. Okay. That's not great. I would prefer if the shield had no skill. Brace behind the shield before using body weight to ram foes while maintaining guarding stance. Weaker enemies will be shoved backwards and can even be staggered. Well, that makes sense. What does that look like? Let me try that. Kind of looks smaller. It does go with the armor. Kind of a round theme. Oh. Yeah, okay. I knew what that looked like. It's cool. It's very cool, but I need a shield with no skill. Do I have any other shields? I actually haven't looked for a little while. Great shield. No skill. No skill. No skill. Okay. No skill. That's better. Eclipse Crest. No skill. That's better. Wow, these are all better. I should have looked at these earlier. I guess they're sorted by how good they are. So I could be using the Golden Great Shield or the Eclipse Press Great Shield. It's higher magic but lower everything else. And it's lighter. Oh, I'm in heavy load right now. These would all put me in heavy load. That's not great. Okay. Yeah, that must be it. This one's lighter. I'll stick with it then.
Particular way he held his microphone. The vertical style, it's been called. By me. I sent it in. Letter to the editor. Anyway, I feel the same way about Steve Martin, you know? He's been gray almost his whole adult life, and he's stayed in pretty good shape, so he's looked exactly the same my entire life. Steve Martin is also eternal. I gotta hurry up and go gray, man, because I got a few white ones on my chin, but man, that silver fox look, that works. Point is, we're talking about one of the biggest selling music artists of all time here. Back in the days when selling records actually made you money. A lot of money. So it's hard to know exactly what madness came over Kenny Rogers when he decided to invest some of that money into a restaurant chain. I suppose divorce is expensive, and he was married 5 times, as was the habit of people in that generation. The first generation to have easy access to divorce, and yet they were still socially conservative enough that they thought they had to get married, so marriage and divorce on an endless cycle. I suppose the central figure in the story of Kenny Rogers Roasters is not the gambler himself, but a guy named John Y. Brown Jr. The son of a Kentucky congressman, John Brown Jr. says he got his first money selling in...
Well, I don't see it where to go from here, but the final area appears to be east-southeast. If I go to my map, it looks like that is... Yeah, it's under Kaled. It's under Starscourge Radon. Yeah, it's under the boss arena from Radon. How do I get there? East, southeast. Well, I don't see any elevator shafts, so it must be a teleportation thing. Unless there's an even deeper area. Now, it must be teleportation. I have no idea. It looks open, like a boss arena, and that's definitely a boss arena. But it has a little platform sticking out. Not sure what that is. Yeah, I've reached kind of a dead end here. I don't know. I'll explore a bit more. Maybe I'll find the way. We'll see.
Encyclopedias door to door in college. I imagine he actually got his first money by being born to John Brown Sr., Congressman of Kentucky. But anyway, a Kentucky political breakfast in 1963 happened. John Brown Jr. was there, and he got to talking with the Kentucky Colonel himself. Colonel...
Oh, I forgot to go this way. Yeah, this has got to be it. Nice. I thought maybe it was all done.
Harlan Sanders, who had built his patented pressure fryer invention into a chain of more than 600 Kentucky Fried Chickens. Oh, I'm sorry, Kentucky's Fried Chicken. Fried Chickens, Kentucky? Anyway, Colonel Sanders was already in his 70s by then, and John Y. Brown Jr. got the sense that he might be ready to sell, so Brown convinced the serial entrepreneur Jack Massey, he of the contemptible Hospital Corporation of America. Brown and Massey together bought KFC for $2 million. Closer to $20 million in today's money, but that still sounds like an absolute pittance, right? Because KFC today is valued at over $5 billion. It was John Brown, not Colonel Sanders, who gave all KFC restaurants their characteristic white and red look. It was Brown who made the Colonel himself the mascot, and it was Brown who grew it from a successful chain of hundreds to a global empire of thousands of stores. Just 6 years after he bought KFC for $2 million, well, less than $2 million, right? Because Jack Massey also threw C for John Y. Brown Jr. got the sense that he might be ready to sell, so Brown convinced the serial entrepreneur Jack Massey, he of the contemptible Hospital Corporation of America. Brown and Massey together bought KFC for $2 million. Closer to $20 million in today's money, but that still sounds like an absolute pittance, right? Because KFC today is valued at over $5 billion. It was John Brown, not Colonel Sanders, who gave all KFC restaurants their characteristic white and red look. It was Brown who made the Colonel himself the mascot, and it was Brown who grew it from a successful chain of hundreds to a global empire of thousands of stores. Just 6 years after he bought KFC for $2 million, well, less than $2 million.
Oh, hello. Who's this? Very creepy.
Right, because Jack Massey also threw in capital. So 6 years later, Brown sold whatever his stake in KFC was for $285 million. Nice work if you can get it. There's really no interpretation of KFC's story that would portray it as anything other than a nonstop runaway success. It is the second largest restaurant chain in the world after McDonald's. In the US, KFC is not quite as dominant, but it's still huge. There have been problems. New corporate owners cut costs to the point where Colonel Sanders himself, shortly before he died, denounced the company for letting food quality slip. As one of the world's largest retailers of chicken, KFC's animal welfare record is pretty dismal.
I feel like we're coming up on a boss arena. I saw a Steak of America, and it's a big area devoid of features, and there's a lot of blood. So, let's check it out. Okay. Yeah, I fought these guys before. That's new. Possibly. But I think we got this. We're over level for the area. Painful. I love how the gargoyles can switch weapons. It's fantastic design. It makes them very interesting to fight. But I fought these guys as basic enemies in Lane-Dell. This guy does have like gold on his axe. What is this? It's like he's from Lane-Dell. Why is he all the way down here? Is there a lore reason? Is he stupid? Yeah, I'm doing a lot of damage. There it is. There's the second one. Okay. I don't like that at all. Gotta go a little harder. Because I don't want to fight two at the same time. That is extremely difficult. So let's just try to finish that guy off. Alright, nice. Oh, damn it, poison. I don't like that. I really don't like that. But we are over leveled. We're out of focus points too. We didn't even come in with full healing flasks. We came in with 2/3. That's okay. We're doing fine. Kill the first one. Yeah, switch your weapon. I got no issue with that. I'm gonna use my Flask of Tears. Oh, wow. flask of physic, healing flask. All right. I just noticed how low on health I am. Oh, and I'm poisoned. That's important. That's a big chunk. More of that, please. Let's do that again. Get behind him. Ah, missed. Alright, come on. I let that one go to waste. It's okay, we got lots of charges left on that ability. I heard that it increases your next attack by 80%. It's almost doubling it. Okay. I'm already poisoned, so it's not like that's hurting me, but still annoying. Nice. Good damage. He's gonna keep doing damage. He's very fast. Keeps on running away before I can attack. There we go. One more of those. One more like that. And we're good. We're done. We got him. We won. Good effort, team. Gargoyle Greatsword. Gargoyle Twin Blade. Very cool. All right. Fantastic. That's the area boss, I think. Also a fantastic stopping point. How many souls do we have? 64. Not very much. Let's finish this podcast and do a little bit of farming. I think we'll call that good on exploring Napran for tonight. Let's finish up and then, yeah, we'll end stream. It is extremely late. It is 5 o'clock Pacific. So, yeah, good stuff.
I mean, look, I eat chicken. I have no problem with killing and eating chickens, but the mainstream broiler fryer industry is legit a horror show. Ultimately, it's the chicken suppliers that are most responsible. Your Cargills, your Tysons, etc. But KFC is the consumer-facing link in the supply chain, and so they naturally come in for more controversy, as well they should. They are profiting handsomely off of those overcrowded chicken houses. I do wonder why KFC seems to come in for more criticism than other chicken chains that are almost as big, or in some cases bigger. Like, Chick-fil-A now sells way more chicken in the US than KFC does. Is it because KFC chicken is like whole pieces? You know, like McDonald's chicken is pulverized meat emulsion, molded into cartoonish shapes and then breaded and fried. The end product resembles a chicken about as much as I do. KFC, in contrast, mostly sells whole chicken pieces, whole legs, whole thighs, etc., all of which look like identifiable parts of the chicken from whence they came. Might that explain why KFC seems to get extra criticism for its animal welfare record? I mean, I think they deserve it regardless, so I don't care that much. It's just an interesting thing to think about. And, of course, there was the fat issue. As we've discussed many times, the American sugar industry in the 1950s paid off scientists at Harvard to produce research that blamed rising rates of heart disease on fat instead of carbs. And the anti-fat furor of the late 20th century was thus ignited. This isn't tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. It's in the medical journals. Look it up. Everyone's doctor told them to avoid fried foods as much as possible, which, by the way, might still be pretty good advice, because too much dietary fat is absolutely very bad for you. It's just not the only thing that's very bad for you. These were unfortunate developments for a restaurant chain called Kentucky Fried Chicken. They tried rebranding as KFC. There's nothing like an initialism to hide who you really are. US sales did slump a bit in the 1980s. It's highly debatable as to why. It may have been fat phobia. It may have been the constant parade of new corporate owners with little experience in the restaurant business. John Brown sold the company to a liquor distributor, which then sold it to R.J. Reynolds, the tobacco company. Cigarettes and fried chicken. That's a hell of a business model. Assuming you can still sleep at night. I don't know how any of them did. Anyway, our old buddy John Young Brown Jr. smelled blood in the water. He had sold off his stake in KFC years ago, and he parlayed his success into a political career, just like his dad. He was governor of Kentucky for one term in the early 80s. Of course, Kentucky elected the KFC guy governor. But he was no longer with KFC. And by the late 80s, Brown perceived KFC's weakness. He saw an opening in the US market for chicken that isn't fried. Healthy chicken. Quote unquote, healthy chicken. The dietary health establishment was pushing chicken as the healthy meat choice in the 80s. Because if you take the skin off, chicken has very little fat. Like us humans, chickens keep most of their fat right under their skin. Subcutaneous fat storage. KFC original recipe is skin on, breaded, and fried in oil. Alternatively, you can roast a chicken in dry heat instead of dropping it in hot oil, and as you roast it, lots of the subcutaneous fat renders and drips away from the bird. All Brown needed was a gimmick, a hook for his healthy fast food chicken, and he found one in The Gambler. Kenny Rogers is a lifelong chow hound. He already had one cookbook out. So John Brown Jr. and Kenny Rogers launched Kenny Rogers Roasters in Coral Springs, Florida in 1991. Hundreds of locations spun out from there, including one that set up shop in the former Mr. Donut location on North Atherton Street in State College, Pennsylvania. Kenny Rogers Roasters was between my dad's office downtown and where we lived, out in the woods near Port Matilda, so it became the meal that my folks picked up when they were too tired or too stressed out to cook. It's healthy, they no doubt said to themselves. Kenny Rogers Roasters made a big selling point of the fact that they cooked their chickens in a rotisserie, that is a spinning spit roaster, which they said allowed the fat to drip harmlessly away from the chicken where it could be sequestered and disposed of safely. I have no idea if that's actually true. I can't think of any reason why spinning a chicken while it cooks would cause more fat to render out. You roast a chicken in your normal oven, on a sheet pan, and you will see a lake of fat flood the sheet pan as the chicken cooks. In either case, that fat is no longer in the bird. I can find no research testing various roasting methods for amount of fat rendered. Rotisseries are definitely good because they continually baste the chicken in its own drippings, which makes for really tasty skin. But what really made the skin tasty at Kenny Rogers Roasters was the marinade, or the flavored brine, or the sauce, or whatever the hell it is that they use. They definitely brined those chickens somehow, or they injected them with brine or fat or something, because they were extremely juicy chickens while still being cooked to smithereens. A Kenny Rogers chicken just kind of fell apart in your hands. The only way to get chicken that soft is to cook the living hell out of it, which dries the white meat, but you can compensate by brining the bird or injecting it with stuff. The salt breaks down meat proteins, which form a gel with the surrounding water, and this gel retains water during cooking. If you brine a chicken and cook it normally, it's too juicy, in my opinion, and too firm. It tastes like those water-added lunch meat products. But I've been coming around to poultry brines lately because I realized what I believed to be the secret. You have to overcook the chicken if you brine it. And those Kenny Rogers chickens were definitely overcooked. Consumers like soft meat. They don't like to work too hard. And they're kind of grossed out by tearing meat off of bones, so it makes sense to cook the chicken until the meat just falls off the bone, barbecue style. This is also probably microbiologically safer, which is a big plus for a giant chain where quality control is difficult and you have no idea if the underpaid teenagers you've hired are going to cook the chicken to the right temperature. If you massively overcook the chicken as a matter of practice, that's a terrific insurance policy as far as food safety is concerned. And you can get away with it if you brine the crap out of the chicken, or if you have some kind of sauce or marinade. I remember the Kenny Rogers chicken as having a flavor that I couldn't quite place. It tasted exotic, in a way that seemed at odds with the kind of down-home Texas marketing they did with Kenny himself. The secret seems to have been citrus juice. Like most copycat recipes online are lemon or lime juice, plus a little soy sauce, and then ketchup, or chili sauce, or something else red and sweet. And lots of herbs and spices and such. I don't think it made it into the video, but when I did a video about like homemade rotisserie chicken, where I tied the chickens up and I hung them from the roof of the oven, whenever I was working on that recipe, I did one with like a Kenny Rogers style marinade with lime juice and soy sauce, and holy crap, that tasted almost exactly like a Kenny Rogers chicken. Or so I recall. I've not had Kenny Rogers chicken in decades because the location on North Atherton closed, along with every other North American location. What went wrong? In the 90s, it seemed as though nothing could stop Kenny Rogers roasters. The basic marketing formula worked. They got themselves written into an episode of Seinfeld. The one where Kenny Rogers opens across the street from Jerry and Kramer's building, and the bright sign keeps them awake at night. So they try to like sabotage the restaurant, but then Kramer actually tastes the chicken because like Newman makes him taste it. Kramer tastes the chicken and he gets hooked on the chicken. It was all quite flattering for Kenny Rogers, and apparently it was not a paid product placement. It was just an idea that Jerry and the writers had, and Kenny Rogers let them use all the trademarks. Company spokesperson Randy Rogers told the South Florida Sun-Sentinel at the time, quote, "It costs $1 million a minute to advertise on that show, and it didn't cost us a penny." So what went wrong? Well, the Kenny Rogers model turned out to be a little too replicable. All you do is buy whole, relatively unprocessed chickens, which you can buy for a song, and then you marinate them and throw them in an oven. In contrast, if you want to imitate KFC chicken, you need that whole like pressure fryer setup. To imitate Kenny Rogers chicken, you just need an oven. In the extremely wealthy western suburbs of Boston, Mitt Romney territory, that's where he lived when he lived out there, a couple of guys out there started a restaurant called Boston Chicken that eventually became Boston Market. And Boston Market was virtually a carbon copy of Kenny Rogers Roasters. The chicken didn't have the same citrusy zing as I recall, but it was juicy and salty and fell apart in your hands, and the sides were good. But Boston Market went into bankruptcy too. A new player arose in the rotisserie chicken market, one that neither Boston Market nor Kenny Rogers could hope to defeat. And this new player in the market was the market itself. Grocery stores, supermarkets, grocery chains found that they could repurpose old unsold raw whole chickens by roasting them in the back and then selling them in little bags from hot tables up front. They generally lost money on the birds, but they lost less than if they threw out the excess inventory. And rotisserie chickens became an excellent loss leader for grocery stores. Yeah, you lose money on them, but they bring people in the door. When I was a little kid, my mom generally went to the supermarket once a week to do all our shopping for that week. That was the American way of grocery shopping. But rotisserie chickens brought in a totally different kind of customer. My dad, running into the store for 5 minutes on the way home from work just to get a couple of things for dinner that night. Boston Market and Kenny Rogers Roasters both declared bankruptcy in 1998. Boston Market got bought up by McDonald's. Kenny Rogers got bought by Nathan's Famous, the hot dog company, for just over $1 million. How humiliating is that? All of the North American Kenny Rogers locations gradually closed. There are none left. You can still recognize the old Kenny Rogers / Mr. Donut location on North Atherton in State College because it still has that characteristic triangular Kenny Rogers pediment on top of the building. Kenny loved triangles, I guess. Now there's a Korean place in there. Kimchi Korean restaurant. And that's probably for the best. I bet you that place is way better than either Mr. Donut or Kenny Rogers Roasters. It's ironic that East Asia sent its food to North Atherton Street, while at the same time, North Atherton Street sent its food to East Asia. We switched. Just like Mr. Donut, Kenny Rogers Roasters also became a massive hit in the East. The company is now based in Malaysia, independent from Nathan's. Kenny's Chicken is in China, the Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, India now. And they're going for the Middle East next. Kenny's Chicken is in Dubai. They seem to have adjusted recipes a bit for local tastes. Lots of chili sauce, for example. But the OG recipe was kind of Southeast Asian flavored already. That combination of lime juice and soy sauce. So yeah, that chicken is a hit in the East. I'm glad Kenny lived long enough to see it. He died in 2020, looking almost exactly the same as he had for the last 60 years. We can't rely on each other. I love how Dolly calls him Kenny. Just like in South Park. Oh, Kenny. Dolly and Kenny forever. Asia, I hope you're happy with the trade. You got Mr. Donut and Kenny Rogers. We got Kimchi Korean Restaurant. I feel good about the trade. And I feel good about this episode of the Adam Ragusia podcast. As good as I ever feel about things I make. Make good choices. I'll talk to you next time. Pew.
That was a pretty wholesome episode. 10 and mid. Yeah, I like the globalization of food. Not sure how I feel about the globalization of everything else, but food definitely benefits from global trade and appreciation. Let's finish up this farming run. 2 enemies left, and then we're gonna call it a night. All right, that's gonna do it. What a fantastic stream. First programming stream in months. We did a whole Jetpack Compose tutorial for Android, setting up the next programming stream, which will be UI Automator. We're gonna try to automate the usage of an Android app from another Android app. How cool will that be? Possibly tomorrow, but most likely next week. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye.